There was something quietly beautiful about the way Barış Arduç carried himself. He never tried too hard to be noticed, yet somehow people always noticed him. Maybe it was the calm in his eyes, or the warmth in his smile that felt genuine rather than practiced. Fame had found him, but it had not changed the gentle rhythm of his heart. On the other side of the same world, moving with a different kind of light, was Elçin Sangu. She had a presence that was soft yet captivating, like a quiet melody you didn't realize you were humming until it stayed with you long after. Her laughter was easy, her words kind, and her way of seeing the world carried a softness that was rare. They had crossed paths before, in crowded rooms filled with cameras and conversations, but those were just moments. Brief, passing, almost forgettable. At least that's what they both told themselves. The truth was something else entirely. It started on a calm evening, far from flashing lights and busy sets. A small gathering, nothing extravagant. Just a few familiar faces, quiet music in the background, and conversations that didn't demand attention. That was where they truly saw each other for the first time. Barış noticed her first, though he didn't say anything. She was standing near the window, looking outside as if she was searching for something beyond the city lights. There was a stillness about her, a peaceful kind of silence that felt comforting. Elçin, unaware of his gaze, was lost in her own thoughts. She had always been someone who felt deeply but spoke softly about it. The world around her often moved too fast, but she had learned to slow it down within herself. Their first real conversation wasn't planned. It happened simply, naturally. Barış walked over, not with confidence or charm, but with something quieter, something real. "Do you ever feel like everything gets too loud?" he asked, his voice calm. Elçin turned to him, slightly surprised, but not uncomfortable. She studied his expression for a moment, then smiled gently. "Sometimes," she replied, "but I think the quiet moments are what make everything else meaningful." That was it. No grand introduction, no dramatic spark. Just two people understanding something unspoken. From that evening their connection grew in the smallest, most beautiful ways. They didn't rush anything. There were no expectations, no pressure to define what they were becoming. It was simply there. They would meet for coffee, not in crowded places, but in quiet corners where conversations could flow without interruption. They talked about everything and nothing at the same time. Dreams, memories, small details from their days that most people would overlook. Barış found comfort in how Elçin listened. She didn't interrupt, didn't try to fix things. She simply understood. And in return, Elçin found something rare in Barış, a sense of safety, a calm presence that didn't demand anything from her. Their connection remained hidden, not out of fear, but out of care. They both knew how easily something pure could be misunderstood in a world that often looked for noise instead of meaning. So they protected it. Not by hiding completely, but by keeping it gentle, untouched by unnecessary attention. There were moments that felt almost unreal in their simplicity. Walking side by side in silence, yet feeling completely connected. Sharing a quiet smile that said more than words ever could. Sitting across from each other, saying nothing, yet understanding everything. One evening, as the sky turned soft shades of orange and blue, they found themselves sitting near the sea. The waves moved slowly, almost as if they were breathing. Elçin watched the horizon, her expression thoughtful. "Do you think some things are meant to stay simple?" she asked. Barış looked at her, not immediately answering. He took a moment, as he always did, choosing his words carefully. "I think the best things usually are," he said. She nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. There was no need to say more. That was the beauty of what they shared. It wasn't loud. It wasn't rushed. It didn't try to be anything more than what it was. And maybe that was why it felt so rare. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into something that neither of them named, but both of them felt. Their connection remained steady, untouched by doubt or confusion. But even the most peaceful stories have moments of uncertainty. Not because something is wrong, but because something is real. One night, as they sat across from each other in their usual quiet place, there was a slight shift in the air. Not uncomfortable, just different. Barış noticed it first. "You're thinking about something," he said softly. Elçin hesitated for a moment. She wasn't someone who spoke her worries easily, but with him it felt different. "I'm just wondering," she began, her voice gentle. How something so simple can feel this important. Boris didn't respond immediately. He understood her question, not just the words but the feeling behind them. Maybe because it's real, he finally said. She looked at him, her eyes searching his, as if trying to understand something deeper. And real things can be fragile, she added quietly. There it was. Not fear. Just honesty. Boris leaned back slightly, his expression calm. Or maybe real things are the strongest, he said. Elçin didn't reply right away. But she smiled. And in that smile there was trust. Their story didn't need grand gestures or dramatic moments. It lived in the quiet. In the pauses between words. In the way they looked at each other when they thought the other wasn't noticing. And in a world that often moved too fast, they had found something that asked them to slow down. Something gentle. Something pure. Something worth protecting.